Hello there, welcome to the next module 2 in the revision series of life skills subject for S4 Civil EEE NEC. I'm Zaideh Rahim, Assistant Professor in the MBA Department of Srinarayan Institute of Technology, Adur. So key highlights in this module are same as the module 1. We have to discuss the important topics in the module, a brief description how to write in the exam, university exams, and finally a link will be provided to you that you can click and go to the university notes online. So the important topics in this module are: 1, sources of creativity. When you get this topic as a question, please draw the diagram, and after you draw the diagram, you can write down the three sources of creativity, describe them one by one. Next is lateral thinking. Lateral thinking, when you get that question, always write the name of the proposer or the person who proposed the theory, Edward de Bono, and the year in which he proposed it. And then the myths of creativity. When you get myths of creativity, always write all the 10 myths. And no matter what the question mark carries, if it is like 4 marks or 6 marks or 8 marks, whatever the marks of the question, please write all the 10 myths. You can briefly write if the question mark is like for the question is the marks is like 4 marks or 6 marks. For 6 marks question, you can elaborate. For a 4 marks question, you can just briefly write all the 10 myths. Next one is difference between critical thinking and creative thinking. So when you have that kind of question, it's very direct. In that case, you have to just draw 2 columns or a table with 2 columns and write the differences. Again, when you answer according to the questions, marks given to the questions. 4 marks or 6 marks, write elaborately or more descriptively. If it's 2 marks, write shortly, like 4 points will be enough. And then again, the differences should be based on 2 criteria. One is skills, the other one is characteristics of thought process. So accordingly, 2 criteria are being used here: skills and characteristics of thought process. Accordingly, you should write the answer. Functions of right and left brain. Again, 6 marks question, write everything about right brain and left brain. Tabular format. Don't write like essay. Right brain is so functions are this and this, left brain function is this and this. Don't do that. Just draw 2 columns and write down the functions of left and right brain. Convergent and divergent thinking. This question can come in 2 ways. Similarly, critical thinking and creative thinking can also come in another way. The format can be, they will give you certain sentences and ask you whether you should think critically or creatively. Again, the same type of pattern can be followed in convergent and divergent. If the question is direct, then means you have to draw the diagram and write what is convergent thinking, what is divergent thinking. If it is indirect, if they give you certain sentences and ask you what kind of a thinking is this, accordingly you should write. For example, they ask you a question, doing a maths problem. Is it a convergent thinking required or a divergent thinking required? So it's a convergent thinking because you need to find a solution. So there is a solution to a problem. So that is convergent thinking. Divergent thinking means there are different options, different alternatives, right? So you do that kind of thinking, think properly and then answer the question. Always explain the diagrams. Then that is what I said. Questions can be on a practical level also. All right, so we're moving on. Steps in critical reading. So critical reading, we have once discussed in the class. So what are the different steps in critical reading? If you remember, first you have to preview the case or the subject you're learning. For example, you're reading a book or reading a newspaper, reading an article, or even for your case study. First of all, what you have to do is preview. That means just go through the content once. Okay, see what it talks about, what are the questions, just an overall view. That is previewing. Then annotating. Again, you have to make certain highlights, certain important areas, question mark, highlight them. All those things come under that. So please study the critical reading steps. It's useful for your case study as well. Next is theory of multiple intelligence. We have 8 theories or 8 intelligences a human should possess, including musical intelligence and spatial intelligence. So first of all, understand what are these 8 intelligences. Spatial means understanding images, Okay, that is spatial, not space. Okay, I have said in the class also, when you hear spatial, it doesn't mean you're going into space. No, it means you are able to understand what an image or a picture conveys. For example, you see a parking spot, no parking board in a town or city. So you should understand the board means no parking. Sometimes a picture of a hump is there, a board that shows a hospital is nearby. So you should have the kind of intelligence to understand what the image is trying to convey, the message the image is trying to convey. That is spatial intelligence. Problem solving. When you come to problem solving, there are ideal methods of problem solving. If they ask you ideal method, you should write only ideal method. If they ask you Polya's four-step method, only write Polya's four-step method. Okay. And if the question is concerned with nothing of these, you can either write ideal or Polya. Okay. So read the question. When the question of problem solving is about ideal, only write about ideal method. If it's about Polya's four-step method, please go through that and write only for Polya's four-step method. If nothing is asked, like it's just write down the methods of problem solving. That is a question. Write down the method of problem solving. You can either write ideal or Polya. Just look into how much marks the question carries and then write. Problem solving through sixth thinking has very direct question. This question has been asked previously in previous question papers. So you have to write all the sixth thinking has 6 colors and what each color determines. The question can also come in the form of match the following. So match the following, they'll give you a sentence. Bluetooth in equipment. What kind of thinking hat is required? Green hat, right? Creativity. So each color is associated with each kind of thinking. Go through that match the following list also, and in that in your modules there are several examples given in the text, so go through that also and then study it properly and answer accordingly. Mind map preparation. If this question comes, is going to be really easy for you because there is nothing much to do. Use your colors, use your creativity, and always remember the central idea. The main idea should be in the center of the page. Okay, it should be in the center of the page. It should not go beyond the page. Always understand that. Then in mind mapping, possible questions can come. What are the uses of mind mapping? What are the advantages of mind mapping? Study them also. Study the uses and advantages. Forced connection. Next point is forced connection. When you're finding a question on forced connection, it can either be a practical question by giving you a picture and asking you to find a connection between this picture and the theme that they have given. For example, they show you a picture of an apple and ask you, and the theme is health and prosperity. So you can write a paragraph linking these two. So apple is a symbol of health and prosperity, and with that you can write certain ideas. So how to write forced connection ideas is also I have taught in the class. I have said in the class how to write. First you have to find the meaning of the diagram. Then you have to understand the theme, find a connection between these two, and then write. Fine. Okay. So these are the important topics in this module 2. And finally, we'll see a link. This link, if you click onto this link, it will take you online on the site where the module 2 notes have been given. Okay guys, so I hope you have understood the important topics. If any doubts, please feel free to ask me. Okay, thank you.